I'm working for Mindstorm. I'm designing a projection system, interactive installation, and multi-touch tables. So that's normally my main area, but I also do some content. So I also contribute in this program called VVVV, which I will show you a demonstration soon. So historically, VVVV has been developed by a company called Mesa, which is based in Frankfurt in Germany. And they used to do a lot of media installation, and they used to do all the programming over and over again. And suddenly they realized, well, we are doing the same thing all the time. We needed, and they started to develop this as a tool so they could kind of handle these repetitive tasks. And it's been public since 7 years. Now it's evolved very rapidly. The main thing about this program, and what makes it great, is everything is real-time, as you're going to see. You do non-real-time content, so you're going to use After Effects, Nuke, 3D, Studio Max. There's, well, plenty of tools. You're going to render video, and then you're going to use some other program to render your video on your screen. So the other option is to go into like purely real-time. So this program is, as I'm going to show you, it's completely real-time. So I want to display something. So I'm going to put a renderer. And I got a nice screen with a renderer. So while there's nothing in there, of course, I'm going to put just a box, so a simple cube. And I need to display the cube. So yeah, it's basically it's what is called a nodal system. So I don't know if some of you are familiar with programs like MaxMSP, Touch Designer. So roughly you have all these elements which does a little bit, and you connect them to create more complex structure. So I just want for the moment to display a box. So it doesn't look like much a 3D box, but I'm gonna add a camera. And now I got a 3D box that I can move around. What makes VVVV really powerful is they have what is called the spread system. So for example, let's say now I want, let's say I want 9 boxes like a Rubik's Cube. So I could just copy and paste this, move them around. So I want to, I'm gonna display, let's say 10 boxes in a row, 1, 10. And then I got a row of 10 boxes. So it just happens, everything is just real time, as you see. That's why I want to present it a bit like this, because it's really to show how you can really build something quickly without having to switch windows, having to say, oh, I'm gonna click here, render, or replay. So let's now animate them. So I'm gonna use an animation module. I'm gonna use this one, and I'm gonna need a little toggle. One great feature about spread, like a lot of people when they do programming, it's a bit like array, but it's a bit, the big advantage is, for example, let's say I create 10 elements here, and I create 4 elements here. If I say, oh, I want to add them, okay, so I just got this one, and so you see what also it does, it's instead of like having, you have 2 completely different dimensions here, but it's always gonna autofill for you. So when you want to deal with a lot of objects, for example, you say, oh, I want to move all my objects, I want to move all my objects on the left, or I want to move my cube on the left, for example. Even if I only got one value here, it's still gonna move it to the left. If I want to say, oh, I want to move half-half, I want to move half of the objects to the left and half of the objects to the right. In 2 seconds, you can do this kind of thing. So now let's go back to try to animate it, because when you do live content, there's mainly different parts into creating content. There's creating the content. Then for the moment, there's nothing like very exciting. But after, you're gonna render the content. So you're gonna add a lot of effects. So in 3 dimensions, you have like occlusion, you have depth of field, so you kind of simulate cameras, and you can do a lot of post-processing, like glow. You have a lot of, so you're gonna render your content, and then you're gonna use the projectors or like whatever setup you use to be able to present your content on the screen in a nice way. So we're gonna just start, and we also want to, of course, interact with. We want to interact with the content if possible. That's the advantage of real time, and we're gonna see it in a minute. If I just, for example, I got a little MIDI controller, so I got my I got the LPD. I'm gonna start my LPD, and I'm gonna say I want to scale my cubes. So I'm creating a scale. And so that's a tool to integrate MIDI and OSC. So it's integrated. So I say here, scale, and I want to scale my object. So 1, 3. So now they're scaled on 0, so you don't see them. Now I'm gonna put myself in learn mode, and just press the button on the little pad here, and go back. And so now, when I press, I can make them appear or disappear. But for the moment, it's not really smooth. It's just like, so what we're gonna also do is we're gonna add an animation. So I'm gonna add a simple animation, which is damper. So now, yeah, now I start to have them animated. So one bit which is, after some time I'm gonna be a bit bored to do this every time if I want to do it on a bit. I'm gonna color them a bit before. I'm gonna redo the audio in a minute. So let's color them. So I'm just gonna say I want just 2 color. And okay, and here. So yeah, now I got 2 colors. So what I can do, for example, very easily is I can just say, oh, I want shift color, because yeah, I'm a bit lazy. I'm gonna use a sequencer. And I want to shift. Okay. Shift color. Okay, and now I need to have I need to learn something for this one. So if I go on. Yeah, and no, I got this. So this one is integrated sequencer. So now, yeah, every time I'm gonna tap. So now I can also just record it. So what is interesting when you have this model and you want to do audio visual is you want to also have like a camera movement. So for example, if I say I want this camera here instead, and I need to have a bit of zoom. So now I can have a nice camera control. So now I can move my camera like this. So that's exactly the same. I can assign to control, or I can automate it using a sequencer. So the main idea is you can really create things completely in real time. So now, let's say I want to have something a bit more That's gonna be this one. No, the other one. The ref. And I need to get my text. X here. And I need a box. Oh, I can reuse the same box. So you can create effects like depth of field. So you see, for example, the closer I get, the more blurry it gets. So you can create all these kind of effects. I'm gonna add a bit of post-processing, for example. So just add another texture here and another render. I'm gonna hide this one for the moment. Actually, I just need. I'm just gonna use a. I don't know if I got a lot of video somewhere. I should have some video on my desktop. And hopefully they are not in QuickTime. They are. Okay, I'm just gonna use a file in the meantime. Okay, so I'm gonna take back in here. So yeah, now I can play like any video content on my cubes. I got my depth of field. I can add a bit more post-processing. Okay, so for example, one common one to see is yeah, you get, for example, TV lines. You can add a bit of vignetting. Mainly for any effects and processing, it's using a language called XLSL, so it's shaders. So roughly, for example, the TV line is, to do TV line, that's pretty much the only thing I need here. That's it, pretty much. So if you want to do the vignette, that's it. So in really minimum lines of code, you can change a lot of things very quickly. And it's all rebuilt it's all rebuilt in real time. So now I added a little color transform. So I can change a bit the hue, as you see. So I can make it a bit green. I can change the saturation so it's purely black and white. I can change the minimum brightness. I can just say, oh, I want my decrease my red level a bit, and I want to decrease my blue level a bit. So you can easily do all these things in complete real time. So that's a really powerful tool for all this rapid prototyping, because in really minimum amount, if I had to do that with a standard program, it would probably have taken me at least one afternoon. It's very quick and easy to do like nice simple things. There's a website with a lot of examples So you have like a lot of examples in the program, so you can easily quite do some very nice things very quickly. But yeah, as soon as you want to do a bit more complex parts, yeah, of course you need to have a bit more training. It's not like, it takes a bit of time, of course, to learn more in depth, because there's quite some more complicated things, but compared to just having to do everything from scratch, it's still easier in my opinion. So I'm going to show you the forum. So like you can see what if there's some events. So you have a forum where people are generally pretty helpful. So you have quite a lot of contribution. Most of them are packed after, like when you do your download, you have like the normal version, and then you have the add-on pack, which is what external people contribute on top of it. And you can see the amount of contribution, because now the size of the contribution is a half of the whole program. When you have created all your content, one part is you need to render it on a projector. So there's a few different modules to help for that. So there's the first one, which is the most well-known, which is called the homography. So roughly, what's homography? It's technically when you're gonna use a projector. If you're a project, you know, when you use a projector, if it's not perfectly in line, you're gonna have this keystone. So very often, it's when you go to some venues, there's no way to be able to put the projector. We've been doing installation, for example, in a bar which is called Tudor Lounge in Guildford in London, and that's a listed building. So that means it's national heritage. You just can't touch the building. So sometimes you need to kind of fix it with software instead. So homography is a very simple thing. It's just you're going to use 4 points, and you can simply adapt your projection. So you just say, okay, you're just going to say, this is the corner where I want to project, this is the corner, and it's automatically going to remap everything for you. But when you have like things like curved surface, you need a bit more, so you can use a grid editor. And I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to remove the rotate because it's a bit annoying. And then you can just simply move the points yourself, like here. So if you have a bit of, when you have a curved surface, the points are never going to be in line. Your video is going to look like this. So you can manually adjust the point very quickly. And then it's all same. It's all done completely in real time. So technically, when you project on like proper 3D geometry, you don't really project on a teapot, but that's a good example. But you could actually, why not? It's not like that could be a nice, you could do nice pattern projecting on the teapot. And the problem is you need to create your geometry, so you're gonna have to create it in 3D Studio Max, and then you're gonna use some projection algorithm. But the problem you will face pretty much very often is your geometry model is going to be slightly wrong. Yeah. So this is just a simple tool, so you can just say, actually this point here is a bit wrong, and you can just move it a tiny bit, yeah. And then that's going to fix how you project on your geometry. You can project any content you want. Okay, one very common one, so for example this one, you can see each one is a virtual screen, and when you're going to, for example, put 3 projectors in line, what you don't want to is to have this line in the middle. So this projector stops here, and this projector starts here, because you're going to have this hard line, which is called the hard edge, and that doesn't look good at all. So what you're going to do instead is you're going to make the projectors overlap, but you're going to have twice the luminosity, because obviously there's 2 projectors projecting at the same place in this area. So yeah, what you need to do is roughly reduce the brightness. I got another one, which is going to be easier to show you actually. Go. So yeah, you can see here it's a bit more. So yeah, I got a 4-screen I got a 4-screen setup. So here I got no overlap. One of the parts when you want to do the setup, there's a lot of aspects which are some aspects which are really important, because like I've seen plenty of gigs where the content is amazing, but it's like on a projector which is half on the ceiling, half on the wall, and it just like, it feels like a waste. So also being able to present the content is quite important. So I'm going to show you a few video of what I've worked on. So that's a big touchscreen we wrote in a casino in Lille. So it's 8 projector, 8 camera. It's all an interactive touchscreen. There's 5 PC as well. So there's one PC which is a server. Every PC gets the data, the touch data from infrared cameras, sends it back to a server. The server generates a full scene with physics, which sends it back to the all 4 other PCs. So it's some kind of peer-to-peer approach, and you can see it's like one complete full scene. So it's distributed rendering. So I got some other example of this one. So yeah, that's a fully interactive aquarium. So you can press and you attract the fish. So it's like the projectors are under. So we needed 8 projectors because the distance is so small that you can't really cover a large area. So we needed to have quite a lot of different projectors, and they're also the shortest, the widest angle we could find as well. So that's one project I did last year. It's a festival in Ukraine. It's called Kazantip. So that's a video wall which is like 42 meters. There's 3 projectors. It's like you have animation, so it's a 3D model. There's like there's a 3D model with 5,500 cubes, and you saw the little cube animation. I used them on that wall as well. So you could have like really, when you have this little wave and you see them on 40 meters, it's quite nice. Some contents are video, but all the animation for the wall and the texturing, it's all real time. It's all dynamic and audio reactive.